Hey everyone, welcome back to West Coast Mopars. So this is my 58 Plymouth Sport Suburban. This is a two-door station wagon. It's sort of like a Nomad, except they're about I think they're like 2 feet longer, maybe a foot longer. They're quite large. Think of like a 58 Plymouth, four-door sedan. Well, this just has the station wagon part, right? But it's pretty rare being a two-door. I actually have two of them, but the other one's a Dodge. It's a 57 Dodge two-door wagon. So I'll just give you guys a quick shot of this one. This is the parts car. I know it's a two-door wagon, but this thing is rough. You can't even see it here under all this crap, but it's the front fenders and sort of the grill section I used on the other one because it was missing all the proper Plymouth stuff. It's actually an actual Plymouth with the Plymouth nose, not just a Canadian Plymouth with the Dodge nose. But I guess it is now because I didn't have any parts. But this one has, so I know it's rough, but this one's got like the back seat. There it is, folded down there. This is it here. The other one doesn't have that at all. So I'm hoping to salvage that. This one's got these funky door panels, which are pretty cool actually. They've got these pockets that fold down, and you can put all your junk in there. That was pretty neat. I've never seen that before. I mean, they're rough. I don't think they're really... We'll see how much I can save out of that. But the dash is the same. It's got, all kinds of trim on it that I can use. It's got the extra... I've got extra rear glass here. Now, hopefully I never break the glass in the other one. But it curves, right? It curves over here, so it's good to have. This one's got an extra, I've got an extra bumper. It's just laying on the ground here, but I've got the tailgate for it. So yeah, this one's been just a good sort of part source, and it's still got the rear end in it. It's got the front hubs and all the steering and stuff, all the heavy-duty wagon parts. So it's just a good parts car. I think I actually took the driver's door off of it and used it on this one in the tent here when I painted it. So I am not a painter. I'm not I'm not the best body man, but I did paint this. I painted it actually outside, believe it or not. And there's an earlier video where I just sort of did a walk around of the car, I think right after I'd painted it. But basically this poor thing, I put a bunch of time and work into it and sort of get it a little further, and then I just stick it in this car tent and forget about it for a while and move on to other things. But I think it's time that I finally get moving with it. So it'd be good, I'll get it out of the car tent here and oh, here's a good sign. I can't get in the driver's door, so that's good. But so I painted the roof is actually like a blue. Let's see if I can. It's under all the dust and dirt there. It's like a dark blue. And then I also painted the lower body the same. And there's actually a sport trim that goes along. Now I have it. It's from the other car. It goes along and it sort of meets the door. It's pretty neat. The tailgate was in all right shape. The bottom was actually cut out. Somebody had cut it out, I think, trying to save it from rusting. I just ended up welding a patch panel in it. But I actually did weld the tailgate shut. Right here, there's a couple spot welds on each side because it would latch, but it wasn't like the best. I kept thinking it was going to pop open. The window does roll down. Okay, it's got this winder here, which is pretty neat. And the neat thing with this car is it's all the glass is factory green tint. Now the other car is just clear. So when I changed the driver's door, I didn't change the glass yet, and I do have the other driver's door. So I got to change this glass because it's clear and this is tinted. If I come around this side, yeah, this. I got to get to it though, because right there is a fern And you can see that green fern, he's growing up through the floor, so there's a good, so I don't even know how it's growing in here. There's no sunlight in here. I don't know. But I got to get on it. I really got to get this one back together. This would be a cool one to save. These floors are just basically sheet metal from other cars. Like I think this is the roof section out of that New Yorker. The hump I managed to save from the parts car. This thing had 0 floors. The rear floors are out of a Scamp. I just tacked them in to put something there. I'll probably change those. I don't love them, but yeah, it's not a good. I mean, this thing's a piece of crap. Let's just be honest. It's too cool to let rot. And this was parked at my buddy Joe's house in his field for, I don't know. I think he said he parked it there in 72, so 50 years parked in his field. I brought it home and basically just welded up all the rusty metal and sprayed it in epoxy, and then I had this paint was left over from my 65 Valiant, so I painted it the white and blue just because I had it sitting in the shop. So I was torn on engine choices and one was this is a 354 Hemi under here that I've been slowly picking away at, but I'm having a hell of a time finding heads for it, car heads. So I find a lot of truck heads, and if you guys don't know the difference, the car heads have ports on the front for the water pump. This is an industrial 331, but it's the same idea as the trucks. They don't have the car heads have like a port here, and the water pump bypass goes across, and then it does not go through the intake. The water pump pumps coolant through the heads. This is different. So I have a lot of truck heads, but I don't know if this is the route I want to go with that other one, but we'll see. So I also have this engine, which is a 331, but this has the long bell housing on it, and it sort of makes it tricky. You end up having to buy like an adapter plate and run a 727 or something. I don't know. This is the engine that actually came out of that car. This is a 303 Plymouth engine. It's a poly, but it's not the Hemi poly, it's the A series poly. So, but this I did manage to break it free, but I don't know if I want to put it back in. My buddy Jeff in Nanaimo, he's got a bunch of old forward look cars. I guess the city's on him for getting rid of some stuff. So he called me and said, "Hey, I've got this parts car. I either got to send it to scrap or you can have it." And so he gave it to me, and this is the car. This is a 58 Dodge Custom Royal. Now he's stripped it. Like he's taken all the trim, the tail lights, the rear window. He took the passenger doors. He took a bunch of little interior parts. Mind you, he left the dash, which is pretty cool. Got all the dash parts, gauge cluster. It's got a radio still, steering column. It's got the power steering center emblem and stuff. Like it's still got some parts in it. But in the car is a 58 Chrysler 354. Now this is a poly engine, not a Hemi, but they are the same. They're basically the same. I'm sure the gurus are going to yell at me and tell me, well, the pistons and the heads are different. That's because they are. But they are the same from the bottom end. The intake is exactly the same. This whole water pump thing on the front is all the same. And they got these cool scalloped valve covers. And this is exactly how it came. I haven't cleaned it up. I literally just got my buddy Shane here earlier. We rolled this car into the shop. I had it parked out in the bushes before. But this is my plan. I'm going to use this engine. Now I know it looks like a pile of crap. This engine got rebuilt in 1993. They spent like 12 grand on this engine. New bearings. I'll have to go over the paperwork with you guys, but they spent a lot of money on this engine in the 90s. And it does spin over still. The cylinders obviously haven't been lubed in a long, long time. So I'm going to pull the plugs. I'm going to vacuum it off. I'm going to pull that carb off the top. My plan is to yank this out of here. I'll probably pull the pan and just check everything. So that's my plan. You can put Hemi heads on these. A lot of guys think that the A series polys are semi-Hemis. They're not. That is a Plymouth engine. It's an A series. The LA is the light A. That's what it means, light A block. So, but this one is what they call a semi-Hemi. All right, just picking away at this thing. So I took the front rad support out. I took all the, the hood latch and that lower sheet metal off. I decided it'd be easier to get the engine straight out the front rather than try and lift it all the way over the rad support. They just unbolt, so I took it out. My buddy was right. He was mentioning the car had a lot of Bondo in it, and you can see it here. You can see where they just filled in this corner of the fender. It must have been, maybe it was rusty or something. I don't know. They just filled it in with Bondo. The other side's the same. There's a lot of Bondo. And you can see the headlight buckets are rotted out here. It looks good when you look at it, when you walk right up to it. It looks like a pretty good car. I will say the floor pans are pretty good, actually. I was laying underneath it, and the floors are miles ahead of what I started with that wagon. But anyways, it's good donor for other projects, including this engine. So I pulled the valve covers, and those heads are clean. Like, they have definitely, this thing's definitely had work. So this is very promising. Okay, it's out. That wasn't too bad. The car's still in here. I'm just gonna, now that it's got no engine or tranny, it'll be super easy to roll. And yeah, this thing, I'm gonna start by pulling the bell housing off, transmission off, and probably pull the exhaust off. And then I've only got 2 engine stands, and they're both used up right now. One's got this 383 that I put together. But let's take a look at this tag real quick here. That's cool. So, manufactured by Cord's Engine Specialist. Tells the serial number, bore size, rod size, main bearing size, and assembled by. I don't know if any of that will be... There, I could get that off there. There we go. Oh! So it's 60 over. The rods are 10 under. The mains are 10 under. And serial number 23722. It was assembled by 002. That's pretty neat. So now we know. 60 over. So I'm pretty sure you can punch these over. I thought it was 100 thou. That's what I'd heard, but I don't know how accurate that is, because they're super thick in the cylinder walls, like between the cylinders. There's a lot of meat there. So 60 over on this thing isn't the end of the world. 60 over, I've got a 340 that's 60 over, and that's about as far as you can take it. So, yeah, interesting. I pulled the heads off. Now, right away I can see this cylinder. This would be number 1, actually. That's number 1. Number 1 has some rust in the bore there. I don't know if you can see it very well. Numbers 3, 5, and 7 look fine, actually, and you can still see some cross hatching in the cylinders. This is just the head gasket still on here. I'll take this off in a sec, but they've got a couple things written on there. That one says, looks like L2052. I don't know why it says that, but these are 60 over. I can see right there they say 60 over. And then this side, same thing, actually. So number 2 has a bunch of crud. Number 4, 6, and 8, they all look fine. They look pretty good. So that's just tranny fluid in there, ATF, that I poured down the intake a while ago, trying to get it to free up a little bit. And the engine's just basically dripping out all the coolant and stuff now that it's tipped over. I still got to drain the oil. And then I pulled that valley pan off, and there's a bunch of crud right here built up. But that's right about in line with the breather. So that breather, the tube there, that guy was sitting basically right above this. So I'm just going to vacuum this out, and I'm going to make sure all the lifters move freely. They seem to. I didn't seem to have any issues with them. And I'm also going to run the serial number here. It's they're here. You got to basically, they're under the head when it hangs over. But I'm going to run that serial number and see exactly what this is. Okay, well I just took a wire wheel and cleaned up the really chunky stuff, and then I used the stones on the drill, which I've got, some guys use a dingle ball, I've just got the stones here right on the drill, and I ran that through it, and it did clean up quite a bit. Right now it's just got a bunch of junk in there, but I did get to clean up, and I cleaned this side up as well, and now I did get it rotating 360 degrees. I spun it a few times. I don't want to do it too many times because I don't know how well the bearings are oiled right now, but yeah, at least I got it rotating, and it rotates smooth. It's probably going to smoke when we run it. Hopefully the rings are okay in this cylinder. It's got quite a bit of pitting, this one. Unfortunately, it just obviously sat with water in it or something. But look how high the pistons come out from the block. I don't know if you guys can see that at all. This thing's probably got a little bit of compression. Okay, well I'm going to call it quits for today, but this is where I got the oil pan off, oil drained. There was water in the oil. Not a lot, but there was some. So when you look at the bottom of the pan has some rust, but not horrendous. You can see a little bit of the milkshake there, but it was just, yeah, it wasn't a ton, but anyways, interesting mark in the crank here, like a big groove, looks like cut out almost. Maybe they balanced it or something. The oil pump says USA in a couple spots. I feel like it's maybe a milling or something like that. Otherwise, everything else looks fine. I can see in there, looks like there's a double roller timing chain, but I'm still going to pull the balancer, the timing cover off, and take a look at that. But yeah, and I pulled all the lifters out. They all looked really good. I labeled them 1 through 8 driver side, 1 through 8 passenger side. Okay, well I pulled the rear cap off to check the rear main, and it's not a rope seal, it's rubber, and it's actually pretty good still. It's all squishy. I can see here against the crank, it's still pressed right up against the crank. And on the cap, there's lots of play. Like, it's not like rock hard. It's still nice and soft. So I'm just going to put it back in as is and take the risk. I did order a rear main, but it says it's like days away. And I don't know. I'm just impatient. I just want to put this back together. So you guys can laugh at me when this comes to bite me, and we'll say, why didn't you just change it? But I'm just going to take the risk. I don't know. Yeah, and then I just put some RTV on the seams here, because when you put the rear cap on, where the oil pan gasket meets it, sometimes it leaks and stuff there, so you just want to RTV a little bit. And the only other spot of concern is these two rods. There's some water, I wouldn't say damage, it's just, you can see there's a little bit of milkshake in there, and it's a little bit of surface rust on the cap, so I'm just going to clean it up as I see it. I might pull this cap and make sure it's good inside. Everything else looks good. The timing chain's very tight. That's brand new. It's a single roller, but it's huge. And yeah, the bearings looked good. I checked the rod bearings. They're like brand new. So I think this thing has very low mileage on a rebuild. And I don't know, maybe they ran it a bit and then they parked the car. It's hard. You always kind of wonder what happened, but that parts car, that 4-door 58, it's in primer. It never got painted. So I wonder, maybe the engine got rebuilt, the car was about to go to body and paint, and something happened. I don't know. But I think this will be a cool engine to stick in the wagon. And it was free, so I can't complain there. Yeah, and I just banged out the freeze plugs, and I'm glad that I did. This one's pretty plugged. Look at that. It's just plugged full of something. Old crud. This side. The first one I did was actually this one. Yeah, I'm glad I knocked them out. Put the balancer back on. I cleaned it up. I've got to bend this tab here. I can see it's binding into the balancer a bit. Maybe it got bent. I put the pan back on with the new gasket. It's got new gaskets on the end as well, the rubber gaskets. I put the lifters back in. I put this valley cover back on. There's a new gasket there. I've just been cleaning it up too with the wire wheel so that when I go to spray it, I think I'm going to do silver. I've been looking online and it seems like silver was the color that these were, not this sort of greeny color. You know, you don't see these very often, and it'd be kind of neat in that car. White with blue and a silver engine, maybe? I don't know. But easy color to spray on. I've got an oil filter to go on. I've got the style that goes in the housing, the canister style. So it doesn't screw on, it just goes inside. What else did I do? Yeah, I got the motor mounts back on. I still got to clean up these cylinders a little better. But yeah, oh, and I managed to get frost plugs. That's right. So I did get new frost plugs in there. Now these are, they're disc style. I wasn't sure earlier what they're called. I was looking around. It was actually, I was like, oh no, where am I gonna find these things? But the parts store had them. They're like $2 each though. They're a little more expensive. But they're just like a they look like a dinner plate, and then you put them in, and you actually just hammer the middle, and they spread out, and that's what seals them. So I did read some horror stories online. Guys said if you don't hammer them far enough, if they don't spread out far enough, that they can pop out under pressure. Hopefully that doesn't happen. I did get some extras, but I hope that they stay in. And I got the ones done underneath the motor mounts. Okay, I've got both heads back on, new head gaskets. The passenger side is torqued down already. The rocker arm's on, push rods are in. I just used assembly lube on everything. And then I gotta put the little cap back on the back here. This one I've already done. Gotta clean up the back of the block. And then on the front side, I just gotta get the water pump back on and the crossover and everything. And then I'm missing a few things. I am missing an actual water pump. I have the housing. I'm just missing the pump. The guy before me took that. And I'm missing a couple pulleys and stuff, but that's not a big deal. I'm thinking if I can just get everything back on, get the intake back on, everything back together, get the transmission back on, then I can pull that wagon into the shop here. Okay, I just got it sprayed in primer. Yeah, and then gonna spray it with silver. I find it's if you spray it with primer, the paint just doesn't layer on so much. Like if you spray it with just the engine paint, you'll end up layering it on like 5 or 6 coats before it actually looks good. If you spray it with a coat of primer first and then the paint, it looks way better. And you only got to spray it like, I don't know, once or twice kind of thing, twice. So I just put the downdraft tube in here now just to paint it while it's in. But I'm going to take it out when I do the engine install. It'll just get in the way. It'll get caught on everything. Alright, torque converter's back on. That was a nightmare. I forgot how awful these are. So what they have, and it'd be hard to show it down here, but you see under there, there's this gap here behind the... Oh, I should really just lift the engine and show you guys, but there's a gap behind this spacer plate that it's only like 5 inches wide, and you got to stick your hands way up there and try and get the nuts onto the threads. Luckily the converter has studs that go through the end of the crank, and then you use star washers or lock washers and the nuts. But man, you need like tiny little hands. I don't know if Chrysler had a better way to do it, but that was awful. That took forever. That took way too long getting this converter on. Anyways, converter's on. I just got to get the bell housing on, the transmission back in. And I just used my old 49 Fargo and 4-low to pull this wagon out of the tent. But it's good to see this thing out in the daylight, out of that car tent. I haven't actually looked at it in a long time out here. And, you know, my paint job's not the best, but considering I painted this thing outside in the dirt, it actually has like a pretty nice shine to it. I think it's a cool looking car. When you walk up on it, it's kind of sitting low right now. I can see the vision, right? Like, sweet 2-door wagon, 354 poly, not something you see every day. I do have most of the sport trim. That was why I painted it like that. There's some trim that comes along here and rides along the back, so that's the plan. But yeah, it's full of rust and Bondo, and who cares? What a sweet car. I'm excited to get this thing in the shop and get that engine and tranny in there. I did manage to get the driver's side motor mount in. It's just sort of sitting there, but the passenger side's a little wonky, so I'll have to modify those. The bell housing is very close to the trans tunnel, so yeah. And I did order a water pump. I actually found one on eBay. They seem specific actually for the poly, so I managed to find one for a 57, 58 poly and 354 poly. It was like $250, but you know what? It's brand new or refurbished. That will be just fine. And then yeah, I just got to get the tranny transmission hooked up. And I got to get this is the cable that was in the car, And this piece is actually from the other transmission. It broke. It was already broken. But I got to get the cable out of this piece, because then this cable actually moves, and nothing's wrecked there. So we got to reuse that. There's a lot of work to do here still, but this is a big step, getting this engine in here, and this thing's going to be sweet. Alright, a couple more things done. I managed to free up this cable. This is for the push button transmission. The buttons in the car work fine. I did go through this and it does move in every position. I'm just going to grease the cable so we don't have issues in the future. I put a new O-ring on the end. That's what seals it. Over here, I just did a really terrible weld on the motor mount with the stick welder. You can see it down there all goobered in. It was a really awkward spot to get into. There wasn't much room, and I had to turn the heat up quite a bit to weld to the frame because it's quite thick, so it was burning rods quick. And okay, so I pulled out a couple inner fenders here. So the top one here, this is the one that came out of the wagon. Now, comparing them all, they're good and bad all in their own way. So this one obviously is all rotted here by the battery tray. This is where the battery sits. This piece bolts on, but it's all rotten back there. The whole thing's rusting. But look at the top. It's all nice sheet metal. It's really nice on this side. The bottom's really nice, but it's rotted. There's a bolt that goes through here, and it's rotted here. Now, if we look at the middle one, this came out of that 58 Dodge, the parts car that the 354 came from. This one's pretty, it's getting kind of crusty on the top there. Now the battery tray looks nice, but when you look closely, it's actually just been, they've just welded a patch panel in here, and it's smoothed over here because it's a patch panel. If you flip it upside down, it's got some rust, and you can see where they welded it. Yeah. And then also, but then look here, nice and solid, but if you look at the back, it's all rotted. So I'm not going to use that one. That one's, that's why I just pulled out of the parts car, but kind of waste of time. Now this one came out of my parts wagon. It's quite nice down here. I'll have to get this bracket off here, but it's really nice there. It's nice here. It doesn't have any rot. It's actually really good along the top. The battery tray has a little bit of pinholes here and some rust, but not bad. Really not bad. A little hole here, but I don't know. I might just do what they've done here and just put a piece over top, but at least the rest of this one is good. It's not a big gaping hole. So yeah, I think I'm going to use this one. I'm going to strip this stuff off. This is a regulator for a generator. I'm not going to use that. And this guy is a starter relay, but it's definitely not going to work. I'm sitting out in the weather. This is the clamp for the battery hold down. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with the third one here, and at least it'll be a little more solid than the other one. So these emblems, Suburban, these are Canadian only, and I had one of them, and it came actually off the parts car, the 57 Dodge Custom Suburban. Now, I had one, the other side was gone, and I saw a guy messaged me on Facebook looking for some parts for his wagon, and I happened to notice he had these emblems on his car, and I said, what are the chances you would want to sell me these emblems? And I had some other Suburban emblems that were from a 59, and so they're actually like scripted, like cursive writing. I didn't love them. I had bought them for this car because I couldn't find anything else. But anyways, he said, yeah, I'm not attached to those emblems. So we traded these ones for my scripted ones. And I gave him some other stuff too. Like he was looking for some other stuff for his card. So that worked out. These are really hard to find. So these old pins, I have no idea what the emblem on this car was. It was a Suburban emblem, but it would have been different. 58 Plymouth, not a 57 Dodge. But I just love the blocky script on these, and being that they're Canadian only, I'm kind of going with a vibe like on this car. It's got a Dodge nose, but it's a Plymouth. I'm not quite sure yet if I'm going to badge it as a Dodge or a Plymouth. The gauge cluster says Plymouth, not Dodge. I don't know. I might just make it a mix of parts. You don't see these. Who cares, right? It's my car. Do what I want. I'm not doing anything. I'm not putting an LS in it. I'm not doing anything like that. Just the emblems might not totally be right for the car. Who cares? So I've just marked it. I put some masking tape here, These are the old holes. I can't get this pin out. It's jammed in there. This one here, sorry. This one I was able to knock out. Now this pin's broken on the end. I was just going to stick it in that hole. So I marked with a Sharpie where I've got to drill. If you guys put masking tape over your paint job, when you use the drill bit, it won't chip the paint. It'll just, the tape actually holds the paint in place. If you do it without masking tape, it'll end up, like, it'll crack the paint and you'll regret it. So, good quick tip. Now these two holes here, I don't know what to do with. I do have some other forward look emblems. I might dig through the pile, and if I see something that'll cover these holes and I like it, I'll put them up. I don't think I have any more that say custom, and I don't have any that say sport. So we'll see. The problem is you start buying emblems for this car and they get pricey. So I might just use what I have. Okay, it's been a little bit since I've done some work on this wagon. I was picking away at it quite a bit. Then I was waiting for a water pump. The car was parked here where the Royal is. I pushed it out of the shop yesterday. I used my little 52 Ferguson tractor and pulled it around, got it on the hoist. Now I'm just underneath. I've got the hood on there just temporarily. I don't have the hinges on yet, but I put it on just in case it was pouring rain, keep the water out of the engine. And underneath, I've never been underneath this car until now. I've never looked underneath. I've never really seen underneath. Everything I've done to this point, I didn't ever have it on the hoist. So it's about as good as I could guess it would be. This car sat in a field for, I don't know, over 40 years at my buddy's place there. And he's 85 now, so I think he said he bought the car in the 70s, right? So it's been there a long, long time sitting in that field. So I've never actually seen underneath it. So we've got front drums. I did contact AAJ. His name is Roger. AAJ Disc Brakes. I'm going to probably do that set. Scarebird is out of business, so AAJ is the same thing. I think that guy said he created them first. Scarebird maybe copied him. I'm not sure. But all the usual. The frame's actually in really nice shape for sitting out in that field for so long. Passenger side, same thing. It's all just crusty. Hasn't been touched in years. The idler arm and all the tie rods, they're actually pretty tight still, which is weird. I mean, maybe the stuff was newer and then it just sat. I don't know. Torsion bars are in nice shape. I just put the starter in. I got to work on the exhaust a bit here. Back here, now back here, I got the drive shaft started to bolt it up there. It lines up fine. Back here, it's got the 8 3/4. I have no idea what gears it has. It's a wagon, so maybe like 3.5s or 3.73s, something like that. It's got these really old coil springs on it. On the back, these coil shocks. It still has the rubber between the leaf springs and the rear end. Like, none of this has been apart, I don't think, ever. So, good to sort of go through it. It's got drums in the back, obviously. But like the frame is actually pretty good. Like where you'd think it would be all rotten, I welded in some square tubing for supports, and I put this material in between here is actually like conveyor belt. A buddy of mine services conveyors, and he had a bunch of belt, and it's really good for like making body mounts because it doesn't squish down. So that's what that is. Yeah, it's, you know, it structurally, like the frame and the suspension on this car is good. The body is my terrible attempt at body work, but I don't care. It's, you know what, from 20 feet away the car looks awesome. It is a really rare two-door station wagon, and the state that this car was in when I found it, nobody would have restored it, right? Like, even when I brought it home, I had guys that they do this for a living, and they were just shaking their head going, don't do it. It's not worth it. It's just too far gone. But it's a two-door Plymouth Suburban. It's not a Nomad. It's not just another 57 Chevy. It's a super cool car. So I think it's worth putting the time in, and it's never going to be a show car. It's never going to be any of that. I just want to make a cool driver that I can drive into town, go pick up parts at the parts store, throw them in the back of the wagon, and I don't know, maybe take it to the Mopar show we do, and people go, what the heck is that? And everybody that's seen it says they've never seen one, ever. So you don't even see four-door wagons that often. So the two-door wagon, just a weird, cool car to keep, fix up, and put back on the road. So I'm gonna probably call this the end of part one here. This has been it's going to be a long project. There's a lot to do. We put an engine in that hadn't run. Well, I don't know if it ever actually got broken in, but when I pulled those heads off, that they're still writing on the top of the pistons. That all should have burned off if it was ever run. So I don't know if it ever even got broken in. So like we're putting an engine in it that who knows if it ever got broken in. I've got to do all the brakes, hard lines, the front. I'm actually going to do a disc swap from. I'm going to do a disc swap from the FMJ body swap. So F bodies, M bodies, and J body Chryslers, Dodge, Plymouth. The spindles with the ball joints are a direct bolt on. You just have to cut your strut rods a little bit. But so I've got a guy in Victoria, a guy I know. He's got a set on I believe it's a Diplomat, an 1980 Diplomat. So I'm going to go there this weekend and get all the brake parts. So I've got the front brake assembly to do. I've still got the rears. We've got the cooling system to finish. We've got, interior. I haven't even touched it. The interior is just, here, I'll show you. You guys there's a long way to go here in the interior. Here's the interior. I got no door panels. I got to change that glass still. The gauge cluster's in it. Everything's there. I've got a radio delete plate for this thing, a factory plate. There's a lot to do. I don't have any kind of, I don't have headliner. I got nothing. So I do have a power bench seat out of a 58 Dodge that's actually in pretty good shape that I'm probably going to put in here just to have some kind of seat that looks right. But yeah, there's a lot to do still. So rather than have one video that's going to be probably 4 hours long for you guys, I'm just going to break it up into sections. So I'm just got the brakes apart there, but I'll do that on part two. Yeah, so thanks for watching, guys, and hold tight, and we'll get to part two here coming up soon. And yeah, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't. I appreciate it. And we will see you on the next part.